Welcome back to Easy Health and Fitness, also known as Torah Health and Fitness. Taking our weekly journey through the book, Body and Soul, and much of this wisdom can still be found free of charge on TorahHealth.org. This is Shushan Purim. Purim's still on our minds. And someone said to me today, isn't it a mitzvah to overindulge on Purim? I never heard such a thing. I don't remember ever seeing such a mitzvah, to overindulge on Purim. But maybe we need to define our terms. There's a concept in the Torah, in Chazal, in Halacha, called Achilah, Gasah, which Achilah means eating. What does Gasah mean? Something like gluttonous, overeating. Not so clear what it means unless we get into the actual Rishonim and see how they define the term. Rambam says in Hilchos Deos, the fourth parak, and remember, Hilchos Deos is not a health manual. Rambam wrote health writings. Hilchos Deos is part of his yad, part of his sefer of halacha. This is how a Jew should live. The Rambam says, Achilah Gasah is like poison to the body, the main cause of illness. That sure sounds like health information. It doesn't sound like something spiritual. FYI, this is not an old idea only. It's also a modern idea. There was a study done by funded by the National Geographic Society. They went around the world to these 5 so-called blue zones. These are areas of the world where more people reach age 100 than any other part of the world. And they wanted to see if there's any common denominator between these groups of people. One's in Japan, one's in Italy, there's one in Central America, one actually in North America. And they found certain common denominators between all these groups of people, and one of them is that they eat in moderation. And that's not the only thing they do. They also practice some of the other Rambam guidelines, not intentionally. They don't know anything about the Rambam, but they happen to have stumbled upon that, getting a good night's sleep, eating in moderation, practicing and cultivating serenity. This is something all these groups have in common. So the Rambam is saying that Achilah Gasah is the main cause of illness, seems to have support in modern medicine. But what is Achilah Gasah exactly? So, according to Shulchan Aruch, in Orach Chaim, Achilah Gasah is eating after you're full. So once you've eaten and you're filled up, and more food is not pleasant to you anymore, it's not attractive to you, therefore it's repulsive to you. He used the word repulsive, but really, you're no longer interested in eating. And you eat beyond that, beyond satiety, that's Achilah Gasah. Such to the point where if someone did eat that way on Yom Kippur, they would not be over on at least the rice eating on Yom Kippur. It's not called eating anymore. And this might have implications in terms of eating, say, for example, when it's a mitzvah to eat matzah or korban pesach. If a person's already filled up before they eat the matzah or before they eat the korban pesach, maybe they're not yotzi the mitzvah of eating the matzah. You have to make sure you have an appetite when you eat the matzah. So that's not a very high level for most of us. Most of us can relate to that. Most of us understand that, you shouldn't eat beyond satiety. Satiety is if that's what satiety means. Satiety means I'm satisfied. So why would I eat more than that other than absolutely pure taiva? I just have to have that extra taste. That's surely gluttonous. But the Rambam seems to have an even higher level of Achilah Gasah. Also Hilchos Deos, same parak Dal, the 4th chapter. He calls Achilah Gasah there filling up. Filling up he calls overeating. Meaning the Rambam is saying that to avoid Achilah Gasah, stop short of satiety. That's harder to achieve for most of us. Most of us just keep on eating until we're full. The Rambam is actually saying you should stop short of that. And it's not just a matter of health, as I said, it's a matter of character. And listen how the Rambam puts it in terms of character. In Parak Hey, the 5th parak, 5th chapter of Deos, he says, and he calls this a scholar, Talmid Chacham. In my opinion, I'm just stating my own opinion, that what he's saying now would apply to Jew today who is recognizable as a Jew. If you dress as a Jew, people understand you're a Jewish person who's trying to live according to the Torah. Once you're in that status, you're a walking representative of the Torah. In my opinion, this would apply to you as well. He says that just as a scholar is recognizable by his wisdom and knowledge, and through them is distinguished from others, so too must he be recognizable in his actions with his food and drink. A scholar must not be a glutton. Rather, he should eat what is necessary for a healthy body. He will not overeat, and he will not seek to fill his belly, like those others who stuff themselves with food and drink until they expand their girth. The wise person only eats 1 or 2 dishes and only eats what he needs to live and no more. As Shlomo, King Solomon said, a tzaddik eats to satiate his soul in Mishlei. So the Rambam seems to be saying that Achilah Gasah is taking any bite of food that's not going to promote health or life. And that's a matter of midos, a matter of character. Now, whether you're going to follow the Shulchan Aruch's more lenient view of Achilah Gasah, that means you're really literally stuffing yourself, or the Rambam's more stringent definition of Achilah Gasah, that it's actually eating to satiety, I think that for either way, it's a very hard thing to achieve. We all overeat sometimes. It's very easy to do, and it seems to me the only way to avoid that is, as I eat closer and closer to satiety, I should pause and think, am I done? Do I have enough? Have I eaten enough? Do I need this next bite of food? There's nothing wrong with being so thoughtful about your eating. Actually, it can make your eating more enjoyable when you're more mindful. And I'd like to end with a word on this point from Rav Nachman of Breslov. Listen to what he says. If one eats the food with dignity, without swallowing it hurriedly, the powers of his mind will be restored and grow, and his foolishness will be subdued. But if he eats like a glutton, then he will be overwhelmed by his foolishness. He will lose his intelligence. Eating greedily causes the light of God to be darkened in the world. So avoiding Achilah Gasah is not simply an endpoint. I don't want to overeat. The rabbis are telling us it should train us on how to eat more mindfully in a more holy way. And God willing, in the next session, I'll take this to the next level, Achilah Gasah number 3. And in the meantime, be gesund.